Hi, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be taking a look at the campaign statistics after a campaign has been sent out from the SalesFusion platform. One of the many smart features that our solution provides is the ability to track and measure each campaign's statistics in the terms of open rates, click-throughs, unsubscribes, and much more. The feature allows you to determine which email campaigns are successful and which need to be tweaked in order to run an effective future campaign. You can also use the many canned reports that we have to conduct analysis. Tracking your campaigns, studying the metrics, and making slight adjustments will eventually result in winning email marketing plans. So what we're going to be looking at on today's call is we're going to be looking at some of the report options that we have. We're going to be talking about some of the best practices of what you can do with this data. And then I'm also going to be explaining certain aspects such as what exactly is an open, what exactly is an unsubscribe, what exactly is a hard bounce. So you should be able to see my screen here. We're going to be starting under the Marketing tab, under Email Status. This is the main area that you will go to see the statistics of your campaigns as you send them out. We're going to start over here by looking at a campaign that has already been processed, and we're going to take a look at the full status. The full status is a quick look at how the campaign did with some good metrics. It also gives you a visual representation in graphs and also gives you a really good deep down dive into who exactly it went to. Top information, it's just showing you the campaign name, when it went out, when the last refresh was, and who it actually went to. As we scroll down, we're going to start to see some more statistic information. So we're going to see our send statistics. If we look at the number here, we see that the total number of recipients was 946, but it was only sent to 841. So why the difference between these two numbers? Well, if you look here, we had 7 that were rejected emails. This means that they are not even valid emails. If I take a look at my rejected emails, you can see that this is obviously not an email address. This one has an exclamation mark at the end. This one has a question mark. So this means that it was not even valid enough for it to leave our server. As you can see, these are all links, so you can click on any of them to get some more in-depth information about that particular stat. So 946, take away 7. We also had 20 who are already unsubscribed, and we had 78 that were already undeliverable or hard bounced from a previous campaign sent from our system. And that's why we ended up with only 841. Now, the bottom statistic is telling us that out of those 841, we had 835 that were delivered. What this means is that when we actually sent the campaign out the door, it went to the recipient server, and the recipient server said, yes, we're going to take it, and they sent us a delivery message back of delivered. That's what we report on. Right underneath it, we have bounced. Bounced means that it hard bounced, meaning that it was undeliverable. The recipient server would not even take the email. These are due to policy related. These are due to spam related. These are due to bad domain, bad emails, many different things that can account for why an email hard bounced. We do have a list of definition of hard bounces available on the Learning Management portal under Manuals. I'll show you how to get to the Learning Management portal at the end of this call. One of the things that I pay attention to when I'm looking at bounce, and I don't have any bounces on this particular campaign, but we would list the email address, and then we would list why it bounced. You should pay attention to why your emails are bouncing. If you are seeing that a lot of them are policy related, then I would look at contacting those companies and see about getting accepted as a safe sender. If you see that a lot of them are spam related, I would sit back and evaluate your subject lines, your HTML, your text, and see why it's being considered spam. Even though Spam Assassin is a tool that we have in our email designer, it's not foolproof. There are many different spam filters out there, so it may look fine to Spam Assassin, but something may be catching it in a spam filter. So a lot of people, they export this list out and they do pivot charts, they do summary charts in Excel, and they get some really in-depth information about what is going on and why everything is bouncing. Not reported is not a bad thing. It simply means that we have not heard back from the recipient server yet. It can take minutes, it can take hours, it can take days for us to hear back from the recipient server. Well, unfortunately, we have no control over when we get that message back. As soon as we get that message, we immediately report on it. Occasionally, you'll never get a response back. So we sent to 841 people, and out of those, 6 came back not reported. This was sent out on July 26th, so we may still get a response back, but we may not. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Note that even though a person may show up as not reported, if they received it and opened and click on it, then we would still log that data under here. It simply means that we don't have a message back from the server. Moving down here, we get into our delivery statistics. So with our delivery statistics, we're looking at, out of these 835 people, we had 106 opens, and we had 5 clicks. We would also list the unsubscribes. If anybody fully unsubscribed from the system, meaning not did they just click on that link, but they fully submitted their email to be unsubscribed. We'd also look at the forward to a friend, and we look at the social sharing, which goes with the social bundle tag. If somebody clicks on the social bundle tag and shares it on their social media, we would tell you who that person was that shared it. This creates what we call social advocates, in case you have some type of referral program that you might be interested in reaching out to the person about. Now, one thing that I would like to point out is on the opens, I would like everybody to understand how we actually track an open, and every marketing automation system tracks it exactly the same. To show you an example, we have this here, and this is an email that I received from Macy's. By default, you need to consider any images in your email campaign blocked by default, which means that this is what people are going to see. They're going to see a blank box with a red X on it. If you scroll down to pretty much any commercial email that you receive, you will almost always see at the very bottom that there's a blank image down here. Now, you don't know it's blank, but I know it's blank. What this is this is an image that's been inserted by the marketing automation system. And as soon as it's downloaded, that is what tells us that the person opened the email. So as soon as I come up here and I click on Download Pictures or Add to Safe Senders List or Add the Domain, either of those will download the images. Here I downloaded the images, and if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, that image that we had down here is gone. And that's because it just sent a message to Macy's marketing automation system letting them know I opened their email. Please note that obviously I could see the text before I downloaded the images. And if I were to click on a link from the text, that immediately counts as an open as well. So you will never have somebody click but not open the email. Good thing to know. So opens are definitely important to be aware of how they work. Clicks, again, are any link that they can click in the campaign, minus the unsubscribe link, minus the forward to a friend link, and minus the social sharing link. If we come over here, we have percentages per sent and per delivered. Those are 2 different numbers. You can see sent is 841, delivered is 835. It depends on what percentage you want to look at. If I look over here to the right-hand side, you're also going to see some additional information. This gives you more granular information as to not only were there just 5 clicks, we can tell you what those 5 clicks were on. You can see the count, and you can see the order that it appeared in the email. Now, keep in mind that occasionally the count here is going to be different than what you see here, and there is a reason for that. The reason for that is because this is looking at unique clicks. So if jamie.white@salesfusion.com clicked it 5 times, it would only be a 1 here, but it would show 5 here because I clicked on it 5 times. So again, being aware of why these 2 numbers could potentially be different is very important. You can also view the recipients. So if I click on View Recipients, you can see who are those 4 people that clicked on it. And then you could also say Add to your distribution list name and create your own distribution. We also have View Email Open Data, and this is a newer report that has been generated about 2 months now. Now we are able to not only tell you that people clicked and that they opened it, but we're actually able to tell you when they opened it. This is another good thing to keep aware of and pay attention to, because it tells you when is your optimal time to send your campaigns out the door. You, again, for the most part, have to kind of guess, okay, I think 10 a.m. Eastern is a great time. Maybe people are done with their morning stuff, it's before lunch, we're going to try then. But if you're looking at your statistics and you're saying, okay, I sent it out at 10 a.m., but nobody opened it till 11:30. That was when most people opened it. So that should tell you should send it a little bit closer to 11:30. The whole purpose here is to optimize your open and click-through rates. If you are analyzing your statistics and all the tools that we have here, then that will definitely assist you. If I scroll down, we have a more visual area for people like me who prefer to look at a graph rather than numbers. You can see here that we're looking at the overall performance of the particular campaign. Same data as above. We're just giving it in a graphical form, and of course you can engage in it and be able to see who are those 5 people. It will render the information here, and then of course you can close it out. We also have an activity graph. This is looking at your total web activity for that particular day, which was July 26th. It says we had 391 hits. And it's telling me that those 391 hits, 5 of them came from this particular email campaign. On the 27th, we had 344 web hits, and none of them came from this campaign. So it shows you for a 7-day period from the date that you sent your campaign. If I scroll down, I have some additional graphs. I have a campaign open rate, shows you your opens, your bounces, and your unopens. And it also shows you your campaign clip chart, where you can see, again, in a graphical form, 4 people clicked here, 1 person clicked here. Great information, and again, the graphs you can engage with. We're going to return back out. That's going to take us back out to the main area where our email status is, and we're going to scroll down and start looking at some of our additional reporting and functions here. If I scroll down, we do have a filter search screen on here where you can filter by user or owner. You can filter by category, meaning what type of campaign was it. You can show any hidden campaigns, and of course you can set a date range. Down here we have a lot of different reports. Now, one report I already generated, which is called the Email Campaign Dashboard. This is a report that uses Microsoft Silverlight, so if you do not have Silverlight installed on your computer, you will need to be able to see this report. Again, I do already have it generated, so I'm going to go and pull it up here. Now, again, this is Silverlight, so it gives you a nice, clean-looking graph. You can see, again, your open rates. You can click on them and be able to get more in-depth information. Down here, you have your statistics, and then, of course, we have the same information. We have 4 people click this link, 1 person click this link, and then you can click on it to get more in-depth information. So it does render some of the same information as we were looking at. One of the main things that sets this report apart from all others is that you have the ability to look at your statistics on an individual list basis. A lot of times we have people who say, I sent to 5 different lists, and while you're giving me the overall statistics, I want to see how list A did compared to list B. Not a problem. If you want to see the entire campaign, you leave that checked. If you only want to look at a particular list, it would be listed here. You could check all of them, you could check 1 of them, you could check 2 of them. This, again, gives you an idea of the health of your list, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit as we get into some of the unsubscribes and statistics. So very, very neat feature. We're going to return back to the email status screen, and we're going to, again, look at some of these other areas. The show statistics and graphs, this will show you the same information that you would see on the full status, just in a slightly different version. The Campaign Warehouse Summary 90 Days is a report that will show you all of your campaigns sent from the last 90 days. And of course, you can export it to Excel. So a lot of numbers here, but it gives you the date it was sent, when it was refreshed, the ID, the name, sent, delivered, open, etc. It's a good comparison if you have to do quarterly meetings with your boss to report on how your campaign statistics are going. We also have a compare selected campaigns sent and compare selected campaigns delivered. Again, these are two different numbers. All you have to do is, using the control key, decide what campaigns you want to have as a part of this, and then you would say compare delivered or sent. If I scroll down, you can see it has the 3 campaigns I chose, and it has the statistics right next to it. Again, a good comparison. You can also click on Preview Email. If you don't recall what this email looked like, you can click on Preview, and it will show you a non-encoded version of that email. Non-encoded means that you're not going to have a name populated here. If you click on it, you're not going to get cookied as anybody. The social bundle doesn't render, so that's what non-encoded means. We also have View Recipient Status. This basically shows you an HTML report of all the recipients for the email. It shows you the opens, the clicks, shows you each individual email, and it shows you everything that they did. This is a good, quick report to look at if you don't want a summary. And of course, you can always choose to export this out to Excel as well. We also have an email analysis. This basically breaks the email deliverability into 3 areas. If I click on it, it's going to generate my report. It's going to show me the URLs that were contained in the email. It's going to show me the URLs that got clicks. And then it's going to show me the email URL click by recipient. So it's telling me that at this time, this person clicked this link. At this time, this person clicked this particular link. So again, it's getting even more granular. Each report has a specific purpose for using it. So knowing what information is rendered will help you decide what report you need to run. We also have an email trace tool. The email trace tool allows you to not only see the person, what they clicked, but also what their path was from there. You can see here, this user clicked on that link to begin with, and then they went to the lead scoring, then they went to SalesFusion website, then they went to email marketing, best practice webinars, and so on. It gives you the path of what they clicked on. If I come back here, we have another report called Visual Email Clicks. I think this is probably one of my favorite for a couple of reasons. So it shows you a preview of your email that was sent, which is great. But if you hover over any of the links, you can see how many times it was clicked. If I click on it, it tells me who are those 4 people that actually clicked on it. And the purpose, the reason I like this report and how I practically apply using it is to determine the best layout for my target audience. If I had links all over the place to this webinar, there was a link here, let's say there was a link right above it, this click to register. Let's say we had a link here and we had a link down here. And I am seeing that the one over here on the right-hand side got the most clicks. That tells me that's where I really need to focus on positioning my call to actions. If I saw the one over here was the one that got clicked on most, then that's where I would focus my efforts when creating my layouts. Again, it's all about optimization. Come back down. We also have a campaign data export. Basically, this allows you to build lists from the email and merge them with contact and account data for export. If I click on this right here, it's going to ask me what information do I want to export. Do I want to export the opens, the click-throughs, the bounce, the delivered, the not reported? You would choose, and then you would say retrieve list. After you have chosen, do you just want to see an email? Do you want to see email, first name, last name? Or do you want to see email, first name, last name, and account name? So you would make your choice and say retrieve list. It's now retrieved the list for me. You can also view the email the person actually received. This is good information to know as well. So here I can see, okay, this person at sage.com received the email. Oh, and it populated with his first name. So I can actually see the encoded email that went to the person. We're going to return back out. We have some additional functions down here, and again, these are just functions after the campaign has been processed. You can add additional recipients to an already processed campaign. You can add distribution or segmentation lists to an already processed campaign. Please keep in mind that as soon as you add them, it will go out. It's not going to have any type of delay on it. You can hide a campaign, which is good for testing. Obviously, this was a testing here. So I can say hide it so that I don't have to see it clogging up my pipeline. Copy to a new campaign makes an exact replica of the campaign. And convert campaign to drip. This is a function that if I were to look at, let me go to a different email here. Let's go with this one. This was an email that was created as a basic email campaign, which means that there's really not going to be any follow-ups, nothing going on. It was a one-off email. But then later down the road, Kevin decides, you know what, I really changed my mind. I want to do a follow-up, and then I want to do another follow-up. But because he created it as a campaign and not a drip, he doesn't get that drip submenu. However, all he has to do is click on Convert Campaign to Drip, and it turns it into a drip campaign and allows him to see that drip submenu to keep all of his campaigns grouped together. Refresh Warehouse refreshes the statistics inside of the full status report. And then, of course, we have a cancel queue where you can cancel the campaign if it has already been processed, activated but not processed. Now, these are just the reports in this area, but we have more. Let me show you where those are located. If you go under the Reports tab at the top and you click on Standard, we have, again, some additional canned reports here for you. Under Email Campaigns, you can see that we have Campaign Summary, Subscriber List, Soft Bounces, Delivery Status, and Campaign Statistics. Again, each of these render slightly different information. With the Campaign Summary, you're going to get a pop-up. It's going to ask you what campaigns do you want to see some results from. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to choose an Updates one. And then I'm going to go to Email Campaign Report, and it's generating it for me. It's showing me the standard information, opens, clicks, and bounces, but it's also giving me the ability to export into a particular format or save or print directly from the screen. With the Compare Selected Campaigns in the Email Status screen, you could not export that report. However, this one, you can. The Subscriber List is looking at any suppression lists that you have set up that are associated with your unsubscribe page. If you are not using suppression lists on your unsubscribe page, then there's nothing that you need to see here. You can see that we do have some set up, so I can say, show me everybody who unsubscribed from just webinars. Or I can say, show me everybody who unsubscribed from webinars and demos, and then refresh the information. We also have soft bounces. Soft bounces will be talked about in the advanced admin functions. And with the soft bounces, we do have the ability to track those. Sometimes people want to run a report on the soft bounces to see how many have come back, what were the reasons, and of course, just get some additional insight into what was going on. Delivery status is where you can take a look at the delivery status. So you can look at delivered and or bounced and choose a start date and choose an end date. I'm going to go back a little bit further and we'll say preview. It's going to show you all the records that were delivered or bounced. It's going to tell you the email, delivery status, and the bounce message here. So again, good information. And our very last report about the campaign statistics was where you choose a campaign from the top here. So let's choose that one. You can choose the status. I'm going to leave it as all and click on refresh. It's going to generate a report for me. And then once it's done, I can choose to export, print, save, do anything that I need to do. Now, I briefly mentioned the health of the list, and I do want to mention that if you are seeing a lot of unsubscribes, I would look at the content that you're sending and who you're sending it to. Is it relevant content? If you're seeing a lot of bounces, you need to really evaluate where did this list come from. Some of the other things you do need to take into consideration is your relationship with these people. If you just hired a sales rep and your sales rep brought a Rolodex of 10,000 names with them, and you're emailing them for the first time, you need to set your expectations that you will have probably very low open or click-through rate. Reason being is because you don't know this list at all. These people do not know you, so you have no relationship with them. So they're less likely to have you as a safe sender and less likely to trust you to download the images. If you are sending to a list, for example, I'm sending to a list of our customers. Let's pretend this was for our customers. If I see a very high unsubscribe rate or a very high bounce rate, I will be shocked because I have a relationship with these people. If I see a very low open and click-through rate, again, I'll be surprised because we have a relationship. They know our branding. They probably have us as safe senders. So being able to set your expectations properly will allow you to examine your statistics in a more realistic view. A couple best practices I would like to mention is that the open rate is an important number to be aware of, especially as you send out multiple emails. If you see a drastic change in your email rates open over time, it should be telling you something. Standard, everybody wants a standard industry rates. So standard industry research does estimate that the average open rate to a list that you have a relationship with is 30%. If your rate is lower than this, you may want to research into why and how and evaluate how effective your emails are to your target audience. Start looking at content, start looking at who you're sending to, and start sending out what message. Click-through rate. Industry research does estimate that average unique click-through rate is about 12%. Obviously, the key here is to keep your content relevant, simple, direct, and of course targeted. The unsubscribe rate is often an overall indicator of email list health or freshness. If you are using a list of emails collected over time, then you may experience a higher unsubscribe rate as it may not be considered fresh anymore. Keep an eye on this and make sure that you are constantly cleaning out your database. As always, we do have our Learning Management Portal, which is available under our Toolbox tab. We have our Learning Management tab, and if you've never been to our portal, you will need to register and create your own username and password. Once you have access, you will have access to the recorded videos, the live training, and other great items to be able to use in your SalesFusion experience. We also have our online help manual. This is a great reference for quick questions or walkthroughs. If you are a hands-on type of person in learning the system, this is a great way to go and look at some of our quick starts and follow it step by step. For example, e-marketing, it'll walk you through step 1 of how to create a segment, step 2, step 3, so that you can get familiar with how the system works. As always, I thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.